Now, I think it's safe to say the Pittsburgh Penguins era is officially over. This team's entering a new era, and they're entering an era of rebuilding until they get Gavin McKenna, because I think we all know that's going to happen here. But right now, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they have a lot of old pieces on the team. Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Carlson. They're going to want to move on from all these pieces. Another player they're going to want to move on from, Tristan Jarry. I don't know how we're going to be able to move that contract in this video, but we will find a way to do so. But today we're rebuilding the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that's going to involve trading Sidney Crosby. So how am I going to trade Sidney Crosby? He has a no movement right now. Well, I might have changed that slightly. I went into all these players' contracts. Crosby, Carlson, Malkin, Letang, all of them were given 30 team no movements. So there's 2 teams Crosby can go to, 2 teams Carlson can go to, 2 teams Malkin can go to, and 2 teams Letang can go to. And we're going to be shipping all 4 of these players out before the season even begins. Now, Crosby, which 2 teams are you going to be interested in going to? Well, it looks like he's interested in the Edmonton Oilers and Toronto Maple Leafs. That kind of makes sense to an extent. Like, it's 2 playoff teams. Erik Karlsson, on the other hand, I already looked at who his 2 tradable teams are. And yeah, this doesn't make any sense. The Columbus Blue Jackets and San Jose Sharks. Well, he's clearly not going back to San Jose because that would make absolutely no sense. So we're going to trade him to Columbus. When it comes to Malkin, his teams are pretty similar to Sidney Crosby, as he's willing to join the Toronto Maple Leafs, but he's also willing to join the Montreal Canadiens, so that's going to be an interesting trade. And then when it comes to our final player being Chris Letang, he's also interested in the Columbus Blue Jackets and San Jose Sharks. So I don't really know what we're going to do with our 2 defensemen here because neither of those 2 teams make any sense, but we're going to find a way to get some deals done, and we're going to do that right now. Now, before I try to figure out what our Sidney Crosby deal is going to be, a quick word from today's sponsor. So I want to give a massive shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. As we know, SeatGeek's the best place for getting tickets for your favorite sporting events and concerts. If you want to watch baseball, hockey, basketball, or even see a concert from time to time, SeatGeek's the place to do it. SeatGeek is going to be ranking every single ticket. So if you see green, you're getting a great deal. If you see red, not the greatest deal. So on top of SeatGeek being the best place to buy your tickets, I got a deal for you. If you use code SOTI at checkout, you're going to be getting $20 off your first order. So once again, I want to thank SeatGeek for sponsoring this video, and remember, code SOTI for $20 off your first order. Alright, before we even make the Crosby trade, we actually have to make a deal like this, where Connor Timmins and John Stone are going to be sent over to the Utah Hockey Club so we can get a 7th round pick. The only reason we're doing this deal is because we would have too many players under contract after we made the Crosby deal. But now that we've done this deal right here, it's time to trade Crosby. So here's what the Sidney Crosby trade is going to be. It's going to be Crosby at 50% retained for this season over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're going to bring stick on the ice legend Brandon Carlo to the team. Matthew Nye is a good young player, and in a 2nd and 2 third rounders. We're going to be getting a handful of assets in this deal, but we're trading Sidney Crosby away, and they're actually not willing to accept that. Okay, I'll take one of these 3rd round picks out, but yeah, we got to get a deal done. There's only 2 teams that Sidney Crosby can go to, and I think this is truthfully the best package we can get. So if I take out one of the 3rd round picks, is Toronto going to be willing to accept this? They're still saying no. I'll take out one of the other 3rd round picks. We have to realize more than likely in a deal like this where we're trading Sidney Crosby away, we are going to be losing. So Brandon Carlo and Matthew Nice, can we get both of you guys? It looks like we're finally getting this deal done. It was either Toronto or Edmonton, and I think Toronto's going to give us the best assets. So when it comes to our trade with Montreal, Malkin's going to be traded away because we can't trade Malkin and Crosby over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. That would just be way too difficult, and I don't even think it would be possible to get done. However, this is very reasonable on our end. Malkin over to the Montreal Canadiens for Caden Gooley. We're going 1 for 1, and 1 for 1 isn't even enough. Good thing we have a handful of draft picks to work with, and when I say a handful, I mean a ton. So I'll throw in a 3rd round pick from the Minnesota Wild, and I think that should be enough to get this one done, and it looks like it will be. Now, it wouldn't really make sense to trade Erik Karlsson back over to the San Jose Sharks. That means Chris Letang is going to be traded over to the Sharks. We're going to get Bordelou and we're going to get Shakir in this deal. Those are 2 good young players that are going to grow with the Pittsburgh Penguins, because clearly we're not going to be winning this season. We're probably not winning next season or the season after that, but we better find success pretty quick here. We only got 5 years to win a Stanley Cup. We have 5 years to turn this Pittsburgh Penguins team around, so maybe trading for a bunch of young guys that aren't going to develop in time isn't the right move here. But you know what? We need young assets on the team, and that's what we're picking up. Now, when it comes to the final deal, it's going to be Erik Karlsson and Owen Pickering sent over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We bring in Marchenko because we're going to need a sniper, but we're also going to bring in Provorov because we are going to need some more help defensively. This team's not in a great spot, and Provorov, there is a good chance that you get flipped. But you know what? I haven't decided on that. We're going to see if this package is going to be enough. Columbus is going to be saying no. I've traded a handful of draft picks, and I don't want to trade too many more. but I'm willing to. Granted, this team has so many draft picks, it's actually a little bit ridiculous. So here's a second round pick from the Winnipeg Jets. Is that going to be enough to get this one done? They're saying no. How about I trade St. Louis' second round pick? So I'll give you St. Louis' second round pick for 2026, and I believe that should be enough to get this deal done, and it looks like it will be. So we traded the big four for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby's gone, Malkin's gone, Chris Letang's gone, Erik Karlsson's gone. Right now we're under the salary cap, so we're going to have to bring in some money here, but we've officially started the rebuild. Now we're going to pull off one more trade before we head into next season. Trevor Zegras is going to be joining the team. Right now his contract's not looking too hot. 5.7 for the next 2 years. He's only an 82 overall, but he's going to help us reach the salary cap floor, and I'm really only giving up a third round pick in this deal. So I'm perfectly fine with that. We're bringing in a guy who's got a little bit of potential, and we're not really giving up too much. Now I'm happy to say the Pittsburgh Penguins have their first round pick, because this team is going to be bottom 3 in the entire league, and we're not going to be third, and we're not going to be second. We are going to be the worst team in the entire league. Luckily, we do have some good pieces. Kirill Marchenko, Trevor Zegras, Matthew Knies. This could actually be a decent first line in the future. We still got Rickard Rakell on the team, and don't be surprised if he gets moved in the future. When it comes to the defense, we have some decent pieces here. We got Brandon Carlo, we got Kane Gooley, we got Provorov. So that's actually some decent pieces we can build around. The defense doesn't look terrible here. And then there's goaltending. Tristan Jarry. Yeah, I got nothing to say about that one. Now, before we simulate to the trade deadline, we got extensions that have to be handed out. Like Matthew Knies, without a doubt, you are coming back to this team. You're going to be one of the key pieces here. And at this price tag, I'm not going to complain. We're going to be looking at $4.4 million for the next 5 years. That's going to be an absolute steal. Provorov, hopefully I can bring you back as well. You're going to be looking for borderline $6 million, and I don't really know if I want to commit that to you. I'm going to offer you this contract, but don't be surprised if at the trade deadline you get traded. Then again, we're actually going to get this fairly low. We're going to be looking at almost $5 million exactly. $5.1 million, I can live with that, especially if you're going to play on the second pairing. Matt Grzelcyk, you're going to be shipped out at the trade deadline. Pierre-Olivier Joseph, for a cheap price, can bring you back, but I want to give you 3.1 to play on the third pairing. My man Philip Tomasino, of course, he's got to come back to the team. That's going to be $1 million for the next 2 years. And then when it comes to all the other contract extensions, I'm not too worried about them right now. Alright, so I guess Provorov's not going to accept that contract, even though it was really fair. Tomasino is going to be accepting. Matthew Knies is accepting. But yeah, I don't really know what we do about Provorov now, because I was fully expecting him to accept that. Maybe if we give him a bit more money, he's willing to, but it has to be reasonable. Like, I thought that last contract we gave him was pretty reasonable. I feel like he's going to ask for $7 million now. He's still only asking for 5.9. So how about I do 5.2 million for the next 4 years? That's 100K more than what I offered you last time. I guess we'll see if he accepts that. I guess an extra 100 bands is really going to make the difference. Provorov, welcome back. Now I'm a little surprised with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Somehow this team isn't dead last in the entire league. We're 24th with a 27-31-7 record. That makes no sense. This team is not that good. We should certainly be lower in the standings. Marchenko's having a good season though. He's got 62 points. Trevor Zegras, there's a reason we picked you up. You got 60 points so far, 84 overall. You're developing a little bit for me, and that's something I love to see. However, if I am going to be disappointed with one man here, it's going to be Matthew Knies, only 43 points. I'm expecting more from you. You're supposed to be a star player for us, and you're not really performing like that. Meanwhile, Tristan Jarry, Nedeljkovic, do what you can. This is a really bad team here. Now, I'm not really too sure how much selling we can actually do here, because we really don't have that much cap space to work with. But we're going to see what's out there. Like, keep in mind, Provorov is up to an 87 overall, and he's got some decent trade value here. And I did see the Calgary Flames were looking to trade Rasmus Andersson. So what does that look like? Like, trade value-wise, we're not that close, but I don't think we're that far off. So with a couple more assets, we could probably get a deal like this done. Like Carolina, how about I give you Provorov, you give me Dallas's first rounder, your second rounder, and a young prospect. I'm offering this package over. Carolina saying yes. We're picking up Rasmus Andersson. So here's all the pieces we got in that Rasmus Andersson deal, and if I just send all these over to the Calgary Flames, are they going to be willing to accept that? They're saying no. I'll throw in our prospect. This is the guy that we originally threw into the deal, so hopefully this is going to be enough, and I think it will be. Calgary, are you willing to say yes to that? They're saying no because they don't want to take on 2 forward prospects. I'll give you a pick then. We got to have some valuable picks here, and it looks like we do. Here's a third rounder for 2025. We're not going to get anything great in the third round. Is this going to be enough? They're still saying no. I could give you a second round pick, and I think I will. Here's Washington's second round pick. Is this going to be enough for Rasmus Andersson? They're still saying no. This is going to be a pretty hefty deal. I'll give you a third rounder as well. Is all of this going to be enough for Rasmus Andersson? No, y'all are wildin'. Like, this is getting a little bit ridiculous, but here's a Pittsburgh Penguins second round pick for 2026. All of this for Rasmus Andersson. I'll give you Washington's second round pick, but if you don't say yes to this, then I'm not doing this deal. If you don't accept this deal right here, Rasmus Andersson will not join the team, but I guess he will be. Now, this is a trade I like like a lot. Kevin Hayes, Bordelou, both of you guys are going to be sent over to the Ottawa Senators. We bring in Dylan Cousins. I've been able to unlock this man's potential before, and I'm going to do it again, and he's going to do it on the Pittsburgh Penguins. What an absolute steal. Now, I think this Pittsburgh Penguins rebuild is going to be a lot more successful than we thought. This season wasn't great for the Penguins, no surprise there, but 19th in the entire league, and we were almost borderline a playoff team. Okay, I guess Columbus technically isn't in our conference, so I should take that comment back. We weren't borderline a playoff team. We ended up being 7 points out of the playoffs, but that's not too bad considering I thought we were going to be bottom 3 in the entire league. Trevor Zegras, he's up to an 87 overall and he had 78 points this season. I'll certainly take 87 overall Trevor Zegras. Kirill Marchenko, 78 points. He's an absolute stud. Ricard Raquel, Dylan Cousins. What overall are you up to? Is Dylan Cousins looking like a beast? He's an 85, so he can definitely hold it down on the second line for us. The team's showing a lot of potential here. Matthew Nyes, you played some top line minutes. You're up to an 86 overall. Don't be surprised if this team sneaks into the postseason next year, because all we really need is a goaltender. Nedeljkovic, Tristan Jarry, you two are certainly not the guys for us, but we're going to find the guys in free agency. The Minnesota Wild are winning the Stanley Cup, but that's going to be Pittsburgh sooner than later. Don't be surprised if within 3 years we're winning a Stanley Cup. But the real question here, what draft pick are we going to be getting? Are we going to be moving up in the draft? Of course not. Why would we ever move up in the draft? We're getting the 14th overall. Okay, this has now happened in back-to-back videos when it comes to drafting. Frondell, I have no clue why you're just following in the draft all the time, but yeah, I will definitely draft you 16th overall, considering you're a 74 overall with medium elite potential. Why all these guys right here are being selected over you, I'm not really too sure. And then with our next pick, it's a guy that we've seen a handful of times. Zachary Morin, welcome to the team, low franchise potential. Still really haven't figured that one out. Okay, this is actually just going to be the greatest draft of all time. Gabriel Dagg, welcome to the team next. That's going to be a 70 overall, but he only has medium star potential. I guess he doesn't have medium elite potential anymore, but still, he's going to be a great selection. And then Jack Ivankovic right after, so 2 great goalies. No, we're cooking. We are absolutely cooking. This is one of the greatest drafts of all time. So we got through the draft, and I would say it was a pretty successful draft for us. Now when it comes to re-signing players, Matt Grzelcyk, you're probably not going to be coming back to the team. 31 years old, 84 overall. You don't really have a role on this team. Pierre-Olivier Joseph, on the right price, I could bring you back to the team, but I don't think 3.6 million is that price, so I think you're going to be walking here. And then when it comes to everyone else, if you're willing to sign a 2-way contract, I guess you can bring you back to the team, but if you're not willing to, you won't be returning. Now Rasmus Anderson, Trevor Zegras, we brought both of you guys in last season, but now we got to pay both of you. Rasmus Anderson, where are you going to be looking at? $7 million for the next 3. We can certainly make that work. But I do want to save a little bit of money, so how about 6.5 for the next 3? So he's going to be sticking around for the rest of the rebuild, and then Trevor Zegras, hopefully we can do something pretty similar. You're looking for 7.8, but I'm pretty sure we can get that down. So how does 7.3 sound? We'll actually do 7.4 just to make sure. So 7.4 for Trevor Zegras. He's going to be sticking around for the rest of the rebuild. All right, we're just going to randomize it. Which team is going to be taking on Tristan Jarry's contract? It looks like it's going to be the Nashville Predators. You do not need Tristan Jarry whatsoever. He is literally going to be the backup to UC Saros. But if you want him, you can have him. Now, I want to free up a bit more money. And Pierre-Olivier Joseph, I was talking about how I wasn't going to bring you back to the team. But you know what? I'm taking it all back. Because Ryan Graves, you're going to be traded as well. And where is Ryan Graves going to be headed? We're just going to randomize this. And it looks like I saw Andre Burakovsky. I saw Andre Burakovsky's name. He's locked down for the next 2 years at $5.5 million. I don't know if I want to do that. I kind of like this right here. Not really randomized, but I want that third rounder from Winnipeg. So we have our big 3 when it comes to the defense. Rasmus Anderson, Caden Gooley, Brandon Carlo. We could throw Pierre-Olivier Joseph in that conversation. He'll play some left side minutes. He actually could be a second pairing defenseman for us. Pierre-Olivier Joseph, you're coming back to the team. So we'll be locking you down for the next 2 years. We'll do 3.5 million. We could probably actually do 3.3 million. So that's exactly what we'll do. 3.3 for the next 2 years. Pierre-Olivier Joseph's returning to the team. Now Sam Bennett, I wouldn't mind bringing you to the team. You know what? We have the cap space to do so. We have $28 million to work with. So I'll actually overpay a little bit to get Bennett here. We're going to do 4.6 for the next 4 years. Hopefully he accepts immediately. Doesn't look like he's going to be doing that. But I think we're going to have a pretty solid team this year. Now this is looking to be an expensive deal. And I don't really know if I want to give Brock Besser $10 million, but I want to make sure he joins this team. So we'll do 9.8 for the next 7 years. He's going to play some top line minutes. That means Marchenko's going to move down to the second line, but I'm perfectly fine with that. We just need a star like Brock Besser on this team. We need another goal scorer here. All right, so I can't really find somebody for the third pairing, and I think Sam Malinsky just might be the guy for us. 1.3 million for 1 season. I just need him to play some third pairing minutes. Okay, I certainly didn't want to see that, but Sam Bennett's going to reject our offer even though I overpaid. Pierre-Olivier Joseph's going to accept. With Brock Besser, are you going to be joining the team here? Yes, you are. That was the big contract I was worried about. Sam Bennett, yeah, we're losing out on you, and that kind of sucks. But we'll just find someone else to replace you. And you know what? That guy could be Ryan Donato. Ryan Donato or Ryan McLeod. Ryan McLeod's probably an RFA. Yes, he is. Ryan Donato for the bottom 6, it's actually not too bad. Or Eric Robinson. Eric Robinson's actually going to be the guy. You know what? I lied again. How about we just bring multiple players to the team? Eric Robinson, here's 3.1 for the next 2 years. Ryan Donato, I'll give you 2.9 for the next 2 years. So there we go. We got 2 great pieces for the bottom 6. So we've moved into year number 2, and we saw some great progression from some of the young guys. Matthew Knies, 86 overall. Trevor Zegras, an 87. Marchenko, 89. Brock Besser, we brought him onto the team. He's an 88 overall. Going to be playing on that second line with Philip Tomasino and Dylan Cousins. These guys are certainly going to be producing. On the bottom 6, we're going to see Brian Rust and Rickard Rakell. 2 good pieces that are certainly going to play their role. And then when it comes to the defense, we got ourselves a big 4. Caden Gooley, Rasmus Anderson, Brandon Carlo, Pierre Oliver Joseph, up to an 84 overall. They can certainly hold it down for us. The only thing we don't really have right now is a goaltender. We got Bloomquist, 82 overall. We haven't addressed the goaltending situation yet, but you know what? We might do that right now. Do I want to enter this season with Bloomquist being our number 1? I don't think so. So I think we're going to try to get a goalie, even if that involves trading a handful of picks. Now, I don't really understand why the Anaheim Ducks would be looking to trade Lucas Dostal. Yeah, the contract's a bit hefty right now, 6.3 for the next 6, but he's only 25 years old. He's already an 85 overall. He'd be an upgrade from what we have. Jack Ivankovic, we don't really need you for getting Lucas Dostal. So can we go 1-for-1 in a deal like this? Yes, we can. We got our goaltender. No, I'm not going to lie. I did believe the Pittsburgh Penguins would be a better team. I was thinking we were going to be fringe wild card. Definitely not happening. A 30-29-3 record. We just haven't been good enough. The offense isn't scoring goals here. The defense is allowing way too many goals. Lucas Dostal, maybe you're not the guy for us. Marchenko's only got 57 points so far. He's supposed to be the big goal scorer here. Brock Besser, 56 points. I mean, he's not doing too bad. But yeah, the big time players on this team just certainly aren't stepping up. Dylan Cousins, I was hoping you'd be a star for us. That hasn't happened yet. Tomasino, maybe you just can't be our second line playmaker, but you know what? I still believe in you. We're going to give you another season to develop. Meanwhile, Matthew Knies, bro, what are you doing? Like, respectfully, what are you doing here? 31 points? Nah, you gotta be way better than that. Lucas Dostal, I mean, considering what the save percentage and goals against looks like here, I'm surprised you have 22 wins. Now, with all that being said, I do think we're looking at making a couple moves here. Rickard Rakell, Brian Rust, both of you guys are looking to be traded. Okay, Luke Evangelista, I'm really interested in you right now because you're an 85 overall and your trade value is for some reason incredibly low. I know why now. You're minus 34. That explains everything. You're minus 34, but I don't care about that. Rickard Rakell, I'm sending you over to the Nashville Predators. We're bringing in Luke Evangelista. I'm actually really surprised they're saying no to this. Like, if I give you a 7th rounder from Utah, is that going to be enough for you to say yes? Apparently. Now, clearly, defense has been a problem for this team for the amount of goals we're allowing. So, Rust, a 6th and 7th rounder, are going to be sent over to the Anaheim Ducks. We're bringing in Jackson Lacombe. You can't make our defense any worse. That's the entire thought process behind that deal. Can't make it worse. So Jackson Lacombe, if I'm going to bring you to this team, I want to keep you on this team. So where are you going to be looking at for an extension? 4.5 for the next 2 years. Not the greatest deal in the world, but we can probably get it to happen. So we're going to look at 4.2 for the next 2 seasons. It's a bit of a hefty contract, but you are an 84 overall. You'll probably play some second pairing minutes for us. I guess it's not the end of the world. And then when it comes to Shakir, I'll do 2.4 for the next 2. Actually, we'll do 2.3 for the next 2. As a third pairing defenseman, he plays his role. So I guess we just had to change some things up at the trade deadline. We had to shake the team up a little bit, and we're going to see success because of that. We're in the postseason. Yes, we only have a 41, 37, and 4 record, and that isn't good, but it's good enough to get us into the postseason. Brock Besser's leading the way, 84 points. He was scoring goals. He picked up 40 this season. Marchenko, 80 points. Trevor Zegras, 69. Dylan Cousins, 58. Matthew Knies, 47. More than likely, we're going to win a Stanley Cup this season because this is the season where it would make the least amount of sense. Clearly, the team's not ready. We're missing a handful of pieces. But watch this team somehow win a Stanley Cup because that's the most logical thing to happen here. The Pittsburgh Penguins are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Watch the ridiculousness happen because that's how it's going to work here in NHL 25. It does not matter if you won 70 games. There will be some 40-win team that goes on some absolute heater and wins the Stanley Cup, and we're going to see that happen. We dropped game number 1. That's fine. We'll respond in game 2. We might have lost that one, but we're eventually winning a game. We're going to be winning game 3, and this team's staying alive. We're winning back-to-back games. Never mind. No, we are not. All right, things are not going our way, but we will make a 3-1 series comeback because I believe in the Penguins. Am I putting a lot of faith in this team for absolutely no reason? Yes, I definitely am. And is it backfiring on us? Yes, it is. It's going to backfire on us quite a bit here. 6-2, we lost in the first round, but we made the playoffs, and that's the only important thing that we have to remember. This team made the playoffs 1 season earlier than scheduled, so yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction for sure. So the Colorado Avalanche are sweeping the New York Rangers. The Penguins didn't deserve to make the playoffs. Truthfully, I have no clue how we even made the playoffs, but we're showing potential here. Luke Evangelista, you're still an 85 overall. I wouldn't be surprised if we were able to trade you for a surplus. Rasmus Anderson, 5 points. You're still one of our top defensemen here. Redden McGroarty, you had 4 4 points. You're up to an 83 overall. I was kind of hoping you'd be at 85 at this point, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. Shout out to Tommy Novak. He continues to do his thing here. But yeah, we need the big time players to show up, because what was this from the first line? This is inexcusable right here. Matthew Nyes, 3 points, -5. Trevor Zegras, -5. Kirill Marchenko, -6. Nah, what were you boys doing out there? Meanwhile, Lucas Dostal, I'll pretend I didn't see those numbers. Those numbers didn't exist. Now, I took an absolute swing on this prospect. They had basically unknown scouting, but it worked out for us. Medium top 6 potential. If we want to trade him in the future, we're going to be able to do that, and more than likely that's going to happen. Like, we're going to be trying to win a Stanley Cup in these next 3 years. We don't have time for him to develop. Okay, what were our scouts doing? Like, seriously, what were y'all doing this year? Apparently a whole lot of nothing. Alright, let's take the guy who definitely won't have medium league potential. And was he have medium top 4? But no, what were y'all doing? Okay, so it's very clear this guy is going to have franchise potential. But what if he does? He is low elite. Truthfully, that's what I was expecting. Now, we're not going to really be spending too much money when it comes to re-signing players here. We don't have a ton of valuable pieces, so more than likely it's just going to be a lot of two-way contracts. Now, we have to be careful during the re-sign phase, because there's a handful of guys that want absolute bags. One of them being Marchenko, and truthfully, he deserves it. 91 overall, but $12 million is quite a bit. Do I want to commit $12 million to Marchenko? I don't know how I feel about that. Brandon Carlo, I would commit $12 million to you, but what are you looking for? 6.6, that's very reasonable. So Carlo's going to come back to the team. We're going to do $6 million for the next 6 seasons. And you know what? We might as well give you a modified no trade or something. So just to make sure you accept that, there's going to be a no movement alongside a modified no trade. We're just going to have 16 team trade protection. Honestly, that's not too bad. So yeah, Brandon Carlo, welcome back to the team. Luke Evangelista, barring what you're looking for, I think we could bring you back to the team. And $2.9 million to play in the bottom 6. That's pretty good for an 84. And it's actually going to be a bit less than that, 2.6 for the next 2 seasons. Luke Evangelista, welcome back to the team. Pierre Oliver Joseph, you continue to play a role in this team. However, you are moving to a third pairing spot this season, so I can't give you $4.8 million. We're just going to ride out your contract. Ryan Donato, we're going to ride out your contract. Tommy Novak, I would like to bring you back barring the price. And $3.3 million, I'm not really too sure if I can give you that, so I think we might let you walk here. And then Ryder McGroarty, I can certainly work with this. 1.7 for the next 2. And you know what? I've actually changed my mind on Marchenko. You're 91 overall. You're one of the best players on this team. And considering that we don't have a lot of money tied into our bottom 6 and we already have a handful of guys locked down long term, I can give you this money. But this money is actually going to turn out to be a way better contract than I thought it would be. Are we going to do under 10 million? There's no way we get sub 10 million. It's not going to be sub 10 million, but 10.1 for the next 8 years. Yeah, that's an amazing deal. Now, Frondell, eventually you could be a good bottom 6 piece for us. Maybe even have a top 6 role, but we don't have time for you to develop. You're only a 76 overall, and your development would have to be incredibly quick. Like, you'd have to be up to like an 84 by next season, and I know that's not going to happen. So you and a second round pick is going to be sent over to the San Jose Sharks, and we're bringing in Will Smith to play some second line minutes for us. Now, when it comes to Will Smith's extension, honestly, I'm not really surprised that he's looking for a ton of money here, but he's going to deserve it. 8.6 for the next 5. Will Smith, welcome back to the team. I don't know why I said welcome back, because you technically haven't played a game for us. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, with all the young pieces progressing and the nice moves we made over the offseason, I think there's no reason why we can't make the playoffs again. Last season, we barely made it in as a wildcard team, but that's not going to happen this time. We're looking at top 3 in the division, maybe even top 5 in the entire league. Top 5 in the entire league might be a stretch, but I think we have a lot of good pieces here, and I fully believe we can win with this team right here. Now, you know what? I've made a critical mistake when rebuilding this team. I got rid of Sidney Crosby, I got rid of Malkin, I got rid of Letang, and I even got rid of Erik Karlsson. Who did I not get rid of? I didn't get rid of Mike Sullivan, and I think Mike Sullivan might be the guy holding us back. Yeah, we're 13th in the entire league, but the only reason we're 13th in the entire league, overtime losses. We can't win a game in overtime to save our lives right now. However, defensively, we're actually not that bad. Offensively, what are we? I feel like we're not bad either. Like, we're in the upper half offensively, and I think we're also in the upper half defensively. Okay, this team's just not winning enough games, plain and simple. Like, we have the 7th best defense right now, and then when it comes to offense, we have a top 10 offense. But even with all that, we're only good enough for 13th in the entire league. You know what, Mike Sullivan? I want to apologize. I think I was questioning you a little bit too much here. I do think we have all the right pieces. I think we have all the right players here. We just need to step it up when it matters most. Like, we have an amazing top 6. We got a great bottom 6 here. We just don't win games in overtime. That's the problem. We've been losing way too many games in either overtime or shootout. If we could win half of those games, this team would be in a way better spot. So it's not hit the panic button here, but we could make a couple moves if we wanted to. Now, Luke Evangelista, you're having a good season and all. However, you don't have the greatest fit on our third line. You know who does have a good fit on our third line? Jake Evans, 85 overall. He's going to play some good bottom 6 minutes for us. I think we might be able to get a pick on top of Jake Evans. Like, we might be able to walk away with a third round pick as well. I'm going to send Luke Evangelista over. They're saying no. I guess we're just going to go 1-for-1 here. 1-for-1 actually isn't enough. We got to give them a 7th. That doesn't really matter too much though. We're going to be getting a nice upgrade just based on line chemistry. Jake Evans, welcome to the team. But we are going to make another move. Now, Pierre-Olivier Joseph, I should have re-signed you. I didn't realize you were going to improve to an 86 overall, but now you're looking for too much money. So I'm going to trade you and a third round pick over to the Washington Capitals. We bring in Martin Ferravari. He's going to have himself a pretty good fit on the second pairing, and that's where he's going to play. So 2 third round picks are going to have to be sent over because for some reason 2 third round picks aren't enough. I don't understand how this package isn't enough. Like, just based on the trade value, we're offering way more than we have to, and for some reason Washington just won't accept this. Okay, so hopefully this is reasonable. Pierre-Olivier Joseph over to the Tampa Bay Lightning, 2 second rounders and a third round pick. They're accepting that. Now we're going to flip all those assets over to Washington. So is this a fair deal for Martin Ferravari? I'm going to offer this package over. They're saying no. I don't understand how Martin Ferravari has so much value when I'm literally offering more trade value than what he has. I don't know why it was so difficult to get this deal done, but Martin Ferravari, welcome to the team. Now this is incredibly unfortunate, but we fell victim of being in a very loaded conference. We missed the playoffs by 1 point. You needed 97 points just to get a wild card spot. That's how incredibly loaded the Eastern Conference is right now. Nothing you can do about that. So the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be missing the playoffs here. Truthfully, we shouldn't even made the playoffs last year, but I know what we have to do to improve this team. We got to bring in a new coach. Mike Sullivan, you're a great coach and all, but if we got rid of Sidney, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and even Erik Karlsson, I think it's time for us to get a new coach. We have to fully embrace the rebuild here. By embracing the rebuild, that means bringing in a new coach. Lucas Dostal, you lost way too many games in overtime this season. That's all I can really say here. Penguins are missing the playoffs, but that won't happen again. In the next 2 years, we're competing for a Stanley Cup, and we might even win one. No, but seriously, 13th in the entire league, and we didn't even make the playoffs. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, maybe things are actually working out for us because we're going to be getting a medium league potential player here in the draft. He's a 63 overall, but we could trade this guy and get somebody who's going to help us next season. So maybe missing the playoffs was the best thing that could have happened to us. Now we're going to be picking up a lowly potential player here in the draft, Lucas Taves, 93 overall. Unfortunately, he's not going to develop for us because we just don't have the time. So we've entered the re-sign phase. We have $5.8 million to work with. Ryan Donato, you're not going to be coming back to the team. Tommy Novak, you're probably not coming back to the team. Barring what you're looking for, because you're probably not asking for too much, never mind, yes you are. So Tommy Novak's not coming back to the team. Ryan Donato, he's not going to come back to the team as well. Robinson, how much is he looking for? 1.7 million. I can do 1.7 million to play on the fourth line, so he's going to be returning to the team. Tomasino, I'd like for you to return as well. And where are you looking for? $2 million for 1 season. How about we do 1.9? So Tomasino is going to be coming back to the team as well. Those are 2 good pieces that are going to play some good minutes for us. Now we're getting ourselves a new coach, but other than the new coach, I want to run it back again with this team. I feel like with a new coach, we're going to get a completely different result. Jackson Lacombe, I'm not bringing you back to the team. I will write out your contract though because you're looking for $6.1 million. So I actually think we are going to make 1 or 2 moves here. Zach Morin's going to be sent over to the Nashville Predators. We're bringing in Kemmel in a 3rd round pick. Kemmel's immediately going to be able to play for us considering he's like an 86 overall. So yeah, he's certainly going to be a good asset for us. And then the second deal we make here is going to be a 2nd rounder and a 7th sent over to the Montreal Canadiens. We bring in Owen Beck, $1.6 million for the next 2 years. He's going to be a good bottom 6 piece for us. We'll have to throw in a 6th round pick as well, but I'm fine with that because Owen Beck's going to be a great asset for us. Okay, now realistically, there's absolutely no excuses. You cannot convince me that this team isn't top 5 in the entire league. We have 87 overall Kemmel on our 3rd line, 85 Ryder McGroarty, 87 overall Jake Evans. In what universe are we not a top 5 team? I think we just need a new coach here. We got a new coach, Lucas Dostal, you're still the guy. We've changed up the culture here, and now we're going to win. Also, we're not stopping at the trade deadline. We just don't have the cap space. We're going to rock this team for the entire season, and we're going to win with this team. Now, there's a few things guaranteed in life. Death, taxes, stick on the ice dropping in the draft, and the Pittsburgh Penguins losing games in overtime. How did we lose 16 games in OT this year? I know it's overtime and shootout, but still, 16 games. We had a 45-21-16 record. We almost lost as many games in overtime and shootout as we did in regulation. It was a difference of 5 losses. How in the world does that happen? How are we just losing all of these games in either overtime or shootout? The team was good this season. Like, if 8 of those losses became wins, we'd be looking like one of the best teams in the entire league. Truthfully, we are one of the best teams in the entire league if this team could actually win in either overtime or a shootout. Lucas Dostal, you lost as many games in overtime or a shootout than you did regulation losses. How in the world does that happen? We have a lot of great pieces here. we're a great team. And the thing that's going to benefit us the most, no 3-on-3 overtime and no shootouts in the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Penguins are going to compete with the best now. So we took 1 year off of making the playoffs, but the Pittsburgh Penguins are back. And this is a significantly better Pittsburgh Penguins team. So you know what that means? We're going to get swept in the first round. The Rangers are going to dominate us. Because this team looks better, they're going to perform worse in the postseason. But luckily, we are going to be winning game number 2 and we're winning game number 3. Are we going to take down the Rangers? We got to win this next game. Game number 5 is going to be the big one. Are we going to be able to steal that one? This is the most important game. No, we are not. We're off to game 6 elimination. This doesn't surprise me. Like, I feel like this Pittsburgh Penguins team should just be significantly better. I don't know what it is, but we have to win the third period. If we don't win the third period, we don't win this game, and we won the third period. But we still have to win game 7. No, like, I truly don't get what it is. This might be the first time in a very, very long time, in a 5-year rebuild, I wasn't able to win a Stanley Cup. Unless the Pittsburgh Penguins do it this season, because it looks like this team's finally got it figured out. We're moving on to the second round. I might have spoke too soon. So we made that nice comeback against the New York Rangers, but we're not done yet. Now we have the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the New Jersey Devils. So we've won 2 games in a row. Can we make it 6 games in a row here and sweep the New Jersey Devils? Sweeping the Devils might be too much to ask, and we're definitely not sweeping them because we dropped game number 1. However, 3 straight wins after that, I'm not against that. 1 more win and we're in the conference finals, and we're going to close it out right here. Never mind, we're actually going to close it out right here. We're going to close out in game 6, and we're moving on to the conference finals. Or we can go to game 7 again. I guess that's an option as well. So here we go, game 7, the Pittsburgh Penguins and New Jersey Devils. We are not blowing a 3-1 series lead. And for once, that statement actually didn't backfire on me. We're not blowing a 3-1 series lead here. We're going to be shutting them out in game number 7. The Penguins actually might be legit. So we might have almost blown a 3-1 series lead, but we don't have to worry about it because we're not blowing a 3-1 series lead. We're moving on to the conference finals to take on the Buffalo Sabres. Did I expect to see Buffalo in the conference finals in the year 2028? Absolutely not, because that team's a dumpster fire. So here we go, the conference finals taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo, I was sleeping on you. I was not aware that you were an elite team now. The Buffalo Sabres have a 3-1 series lead on us. Ain't no way. Like, I'm sorry, but ain't no way the Buffalo Sabres are taking us out here. Out of all the teams that could have possibly taken us out, it's really going to be the Buffalo Sabres. Unless we make a 3-1 series comeback, which is still possible. We just got to win 2 more games and we're in the Stanley Cup final. We're exchanging goals in the first period. 2 goals going to be scored by each team. Moving into the second, we're picking up another 2. Can we get another 2 in the third? How about another 3 in the third? We are 1 game away from the Stanley Cup final. So far, the Penguins have been perfect in game 7. Is that trend going to continue? Are we going to be 3 for 3 in game 7? Yes, we are, because I know this team's going to show up. I don't care if Ryan McLeod scoring the first goal. We're going to respond the second period, and that's exactly what Tomasino's doing. We win the third period, we make it to the Stanley Cup final, and what's going to happen? Well, we're going to exchange goals here. So overtime's going to settle this one. We have a lot of big-time players, and Brock Besser scoring the OT winner. Never mind, it's Shakir. Out of all players on this team, Shakir's picked up the OT winner. We made a 3-1 series comeback. We're in the Stanley Cup final. What a season it's been. So we've gone to 3 straight game 7s, but we've won all 3 of them. We're in the Stanley Cup final, and I don't think we can afford to go to game 7 against this team. We're taking on the Edmonton Oilers. They got Connor McDavid. They got Leon Draisaitl. We better be prepared. So it all comes down to this, a best of 7 against the Edmonton Oilers. We're going to be splitting the series so far, so that means game number 5 is going to be the most important game of the postseason. Can the Pittsburgh Penguins find a way to steal this one away? Yes, we can. We're going to steal it in overtime. Are we going to win in game number 6 and be Stanley Cup champions? I just want to point out, in round number 1, I was talking about how this might be the first time in a very long time, in a 5-year rebuild, I don't win a Stanley Cup. We proceed to win a Stanley Cup this very season. Sometimes things just work out for you. Pittsburgh Penguins Stanley Cup champions. I was questioning this team, but here we are, Cup champions. I don't know how we did it, but we did. And the best part about this, we're running it back with the exact same team. We are going to make absolutely no changes. Well, maybe we'll make a couple changes to the 4th line, but we're running it back with the same team. It's going to be virtually the exact same team. We might lose 1 or 2 pieces. Like, realistically, who needs a contract extension? These 4 players right here. We don't have the cap space for all of them unless players are willing to sign really cheap contracts. Jackson Lacombe, you want $5.5 million? I'm not doing that. Robinson, how much are you looking for? You want $2.6 million? We could actually probably do that. So I'll do 2.5 for the next 3 years, so you're going to return to the team. We'll move on to Tomasino next. What's he going to be looking for? $2 million. I can do $2 million for him. And then with the remaining cash we have left, Shakir, are we going to be able to afford to bring you back to this team. You want $3 million. We might be able to afford you once the salary cap goes up. So I simulated one day and the salary cap went up. So Shakira, we actually are going to keep you on this team. 2.8 for one season. I'll do 2.9 for one season. So the only player we're going to lose here is Jackson Lacombe. I can live with that. Now, if you thought our team was great last season, we're actually going to be even better because we're going to have two medium league potential players that we could trade away. I believe the one we got last season was a defenseman. Don't quote me on that. He could have been a forward. I don't really remember. But if we have a defenseman and a forward, we're going to package these two guys up together and we're going to get one really good defenseman that's going to play some third pairing minutes for us. Now, things are just going the Penguins' way now. So based on trade value, this looks like a massive overpayment, but it really isn't. Evanson at 50% retained is going to be brought to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like, he's an 85 overall defenseman. He's going to play his role here on the third pairing. Our team's set for another Stanley Cup. All right, so y'all might as well just give us the Stanley Cup right now. This Pittsburgh Penguins team is clearly going back to back. From top to bottom, we're amazing. The defense, absolutely spectacular. And then goaltending, Lucas Dostal. I don't understand how you haven't developed from an 85 overall. Then again, you've really only had one good season since coming to the team. And even last season wasn't that great because you had a 33, 14, and 12 record. So yeah, I shouldn't really try to gas those numbers up too much. However, in the postseason, you were really good. 16 wins, one shot, a 9-12, and a 271. You held it down when it mattered most. So you probably should be like an 87. But you know what? We're not worried about your overall. We're going to rock this team for the entire season, and we're going back to back. Now, I'm very surprised there is this significant of a gap between first and second in the entire league. Florida's first with 59 wins and 123 points. We're second with 105 points and 50 wins. Florida was that much better than us because of their offense and their defense as well. But you know what? Florida was scoring goals this season. That team knows how to score goals right now. But you know what? Pittsburgh knows how to show up in the most important games. We showed that last season. Marchenko, 86 points. Dylan Cousins, 78 points. What a great pickup that was. I would recommend always trading for Dylan Cousins because as long as you play him in the top 6, he's probably going to develop into a really good player. Matthew Nye, 72 points. Brock Besser, 71. The entire team's looking elite here. And then when it comes to goaltending, Lucas Dostal, I probably wouldn't trade for you in future videos. I mean, I will because you're an 85 overall. That's good enough here. But a 902 and a 306, okay, you weren't good this season. Gabriel Degg should probably be the star heading into the postseason. But we're going to stick with Lucas Dostal. I don't know what it is about Lucas Dostal. I feel like he always caps out at an 85 overall. The odd time I give him to like an 86, 87, but 99.9% of the time, bro hits an 85 overall, and then he's done developing. He will stay at an 85 overall for the rest of his life. With all that being said, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. Tampa caused some problems last postseason, but you know what? Pittsburgh still ended up winning a Stanley Cup, and that's what we're going to do here. We're winning game number 1, 6-0. I feel like it's simulating slower than normal. I don't know if that's just me. Maybe it actually is, but I have no clue. But now we're down 3-1. You know what? I'm going to take that sim speed comment back. If it has to be incredibly slow in order for us to win, I'm okay with that. If it takes 1 minute per day, I'm okay with that. As long as we win a Stanley Cup here, Panarin's on the Tampa Bay Lightning, we're cooked, aren't we? Panarin on the Tampa Bay Lightning, Trevor Zegras picking up a big time goal, but Tampa's got to be an absolutely elite team. But we might be a little bit better. But you know what? We can't worry about who's on the Lightning. We got to worry about who's on our team and how we're going to get past the Lightning. Kucherov is picking up the first goal of the game. In the second, Kucherov's going to be picking up another one. What are the odds? Kucherov picks up a hat trick, and that's how we lose this game. Bjorkstrand's picking up a goal, but you know what? We're picking up back-to-back, so we're still alive. So it all comes down to this. Game 7. Can we get past the Tampa Bay Lightning once again? Okay, Nikita Kucherov is the greatest goal scorer of all time, apparently. Bro just keeps on scoring goals. We need to find an answer in the third period, and Kucherov can't score in the third period. If he scores in the third period, we don't have a chance here. And what's going to happen? Well, Kemmel's going to be scoring. And in overtime, it's going to be Nikita Kucherov. I can see it all happening. Nope, it was Artemi Panarin. Why am I not surprised? Now, that was certainly a tough loss. We won a Stanley Cup, decided to run it back with the exact same team, only for Tampa to beat us in Game 7. And why did we lose in Game 7? Because of Nikita Kucherov and Artemi Panarin. Our scoring numbers look like this. Goaltending clearly wasn't good enough here. Lucas Dostal, you had one good postseason. You helped us win one Stanley Cup. But yeah, you just weren't good enough. Tampa Bay, though, I need to look at these numbers. Y'all only made it to the second round, but Nikita Kucherov, Artemi Panarin, what'd you do? Okay, I think Nikita Kucherov and Artemi Panarin just scored all of their points against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like, Kucherov only finished with 6 goals. I swear, this man had 4 in a 2-game span against us. I think he picked up all 6 goals against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then in round number 2, didn't score a single goal. Artemi Panarin, I feel like he scored a majority of his goals against the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. So you're telling me the Tampa Bay Lightning scored all of their goals against us, and then proceeded to do absolutely nothing in the second round? That seems like a very fitting way to end this video.